Episode 465, How I Built an Agentic Workflow for My Podcast.
The AI6 Podcast with Joanne Sweeney.
A 6-minute podcast sounds like it should be quick to produce, but it isn't. Every episode of AI6 needs a story worth covering, credible sources, context, a point of view, a script, and ultimately editorial decisions about what I say and pack into those valuable 6 minutes for you. Hello, and you're very welcome back to AI6 and this special 10-part series on how I'm building with AI. And if you've just discovered it, then have a look at the previous episodes in this special series. As a former journalist, there was one part of this process that I was never interested in automating, and that was my own judgment and understanding of the story. I don't want to outsource my agency and my critical thinking to a bot, because if I'm really honest, and if you're a long-time listener of this podcast, you will have heard me say this before, AI6 is a gift to you because I want to break down the complexities of this technology and its capability into easy to understand frameworks and explainers in 6 minutes a day. But the surprise is that this podcast has been such a wonderful gift to me because my knowledge and my own critical thinking has expanded. And so when I sit in this podcast studio in my home office in Galway in the west of Ireland, you should absolutely know that these minutes are really valuable to me also. And so I don't want AI deciding what matters, what sources I should trust, or what my opinion should be. So I have a methodology where I actually use an app called Raindrop. And within Raindrop, I can put in my ideas, I can put in source links, articles that I come across and that I read. I can also voice note it. And so all the time, Raindrop is collecting my own knowledge, ideas, questions that I have on the topic, and things I want to find out more. And within Raindrop, I put an idea in, and then all of those links, my conversations, my notes, everything else, and the context goes into it. Then that is linked to an agentic system that then fires up the work. And it has its own workflow. And what's the center of the workflow? A Google Sheet. When you see my Google Sheet and I show people my Google Sheet in my training courses, they're sometimes a little bit surprised because it doesn't look so sophisticated. But every row represents an episode, and every column within that spreadsheet has a particular job. I enter the episode number, the working title, I add the show notes from Raindrop, which include my own perspective on the subject, the links to the news stories, other research, and other sources that I want to draw the script from. Then I have a control column with a drop-down menu where I choose what happens next. Do I want the agent to generate a script, regenerate a script, to review it, or to approve it? And that little drop-down is actually one of the most important parts of the system because it's the human control. Nothing gets decided without my input, but remember, it all started outside the spreadsheet with all of my ideas, my knowledge, my critical thinking, and my research. And then I get a first working draft. And the agent then will curate all of my scripts, send them to me, and I will review them. Behind the Google Sheet is an N8N workflow. When I select Generate Script, N8N takes the information from the row, including my notes, my views, my reference material, packages it together, and sends it to Claude Opus with the instructions that I have created for AI6, because of course there is a structure and a format to this podcast. And within Claude Opus project, it is also trained in my tone of voice and in my writing and in previous content that I have produced, from webinars to podcasts to YouTube videos, etc. And then that produces a first draft. It's saved and the link is automatically returned to the relevant row in my Google Sheet to review. So instead of opening different tools, copying and pasting links and moving notes around, rebuilding prompts and saving files every day, I have designed the process and the workflow handles those repetitive steps for me. I mean, I could create a beautiful dashboard and maybe that's a part 2 of my system and building it in something like Lovable, but actually this works. And I get an email on a Friday morning going, hey, have you got your scripts all done? Because it knows that I record on Fridays or at the weekends and batch produce for the week ahead. And good AI architecture doesn't have to look futuristic. It's actually fundamentally about the steps in the workflow. And I am a process person. And of course, what happens if that first draft of that script doesn't sound like me, it's not good enough, the hook or the news angle was all wrong? Well, then I will give it feedback and it will regenerate. But remember, it's only regenerating and it's only creating from the knowledge base that I have given it, which includes my own voice, my own notes, my own judgment, my own critical thinking. And then I will always edit and tweak. And very often, like in this podcast, I have a script in front of me, but I know what I want to say because I've written it and I've thought about it, I've researched it. And very often you'll see me going off script and ad-libbing and just putting it into my own words. So N8N is the core tool built around a Google Sheet. Starts off in Raindrop with my own notes and critical thinking and prompts with my own voice. And N8N brings it all together. We've also then added some agentic workflows after the script is written because guess what happens? All of our work is then shared in a shared Google workspace. So Lachlan, my editor, can get the files. Joanna, my marketing assistant, can get the files. But guess what? We also have an agent at the other side who then takes the audio file, takes the show notes, uploads it to Buzzsprout, which is our syndication tool to get it on all the podcast platforms and get it to your ears, gets to our blog because we obviously want to make sure that we're getting our content on our website. That's owned media. And Joanna's doing a couple of tweaks. We also have the Yoast SEO AI assistant that's doing the on-page SEO to optimize it for our website. And Joanna is the human in the loop in all of that. And then she will schedule in Agorapulse, our social media management tool. And we also have other tools to clip down long-form interviews from the long listen that's repurposed. So we still have lots of human in this podcast. There are 3 humans responsible for this podcast, but there are also a number of agents. So what workflow do you have that you could potentially design an agent for? That's it for today's show. If you're ready to turn these insights into skills, here's how I can help. Get your copy of my book, AI Playbook, on Amazon. It's the perfect companion to the show. For weekly AI strategies, subscribe to my newsletter, Human in the Loop, on LinkedIn. Or if you want to take the next big step, you can take our CPD accredited professional diploma in AI. Maybe you need something more tailored for your organization. You can book a call in my calendar at digitaltraining.ie. Or if you work in government or public sector, go over to publicsectormarketingpros.com. If you found this episode useful, please share it with a pro that you know. And I'd love to read your comments on Spotify. And if you can, take a second to like, rate, or subscribe wherever you listen. It really helps the show. This is AI6. I'll talk to you on the next episode.